And welcome to the celebrated nightly news of Calaveras County. My name's John.
Did you forget who you were for a minute?
No.
You were a little delayed in that.
And we've been in medical stuff all afternoon. Kim had a...
I had a tooth pulled. Didn't expect that when I went in. A molar pulled. I've been having a toothache for the last couple of weeks, and it was infected. And
longer than you would have liked,
right? I was hoping to have saved the tooth, and they said, sorry, it has to come out. So wasn't expecting that.
No, not at all.
Boy, do I feel better. Let me tell you.
You feel better now?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, I do.
Well, we thank you for stopping by on a Thursday night. This is our weekend entertainment update edition.
Where we tell you what to do, right?
And we hope that you listen better than I do.
Yes.
Right?
We hope so. I'm sure they do. Who would not listen to me? I mean, come on.
You say I don't. All right. Okay. A little bit of...
I guess we can start off on the budget. Here's an article from the Record Net. Should we talk about the budget a little bit?
Yeah. Basically, the budget slimmed down a little bit, but also want to say on the budget is we have the summary video that'll run about a little over an hour. And this is the follow-up of the Wednesday morning summary. In the synopsis of it, and I don't know what Dana's angle on it is, what we pulled out of it was that they're going to fund the district attorney's office a little bit for the next few months to see if they can to keep those people on while they're working on those cases. Is that what Dana had?
Let me see. It says the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors reached agreement Wednesday on a lean $104 million budget for 2008-2009. That's almost $2 million smaller than the budget for the current fiscal year ending Monday. The planned budget, however, spares for at least the next 3 months 24 county employees who have been slated for layoffs. 3 other positions will be cut. Those who will continue working for now include 17 part-time bailiffs who provide court security, as well as 5 other part-time employees in the Sheriff's Department. Also temporarily spared is an attorney in the District Attorney's Office. District Attorney Jeff Tuttle pleaded for retaining the entry-level attorney because the employee takes care of a heavy load of misdemeanor prosecutions, thus freeing more experienced attorneys to work on homicide cases, including a recent double killing in Angels Camp.
Yep.
The loss of this person will mean someone else has to assume the great deal of time in the misdemeanor court, Tuttle said. Supervisors agreed to take $16,000 from the county's rapidly shrinking contingency fund to keep the attorney on board until the end of September, when Tuttle said he'd have a better idea of the likely staff demands of prosecuting the recent double homicide. Negotiations between the board and Sheriff Dennis Downham were not quite as cordial. I'm a little offended, Dennis said, that you're coming on so strong. Supervisor Russ Thomas said of Downham's repeated pleas for his department to have an additional $247,000 in funding. I see a couple of sources that you could use at your discretion to fund these positions for 90 days. Again, this is coming from the Stockton Record. Downham, however, said he'd rather have the layoffs than dip into funds he's accumulating over 10 years to pay for modernizing the department's radio communication system. A number of political and bureaucratic factors also limited Downham's options. First, the Deputies Sheriff's Association labor contract has a clause that requires that part-time employees must be laid off first before any full-time officers get pay slips.
Right.
Thus, the relatively cost-effective bailiffs who are retired peace officers and who do not receive county benefits have to be cut before more expensive employees can be. Secondly, Downham faces the strong possibility that state money, which has been funding methamphetamine enforcement, will not be available this year. This means that the full-time sworn officers from that unit must now be supported by general fund dollars. Downham said that if forced to comply with the cuts requested of all county departments, he'd have to lay off the part-time employees. That in turn would mean regular full-time deputies would be pulled off patrol and assigned to courthouse duty. The thought dismayed supervisors. I really do not want to see the deputies on the street reduced at this point, said Supervisor Bill Claudino, who was a retired California Highway Patrol officer. Supervisor Marita Calloway was absent during the budget hearings. At one point, it looked like the remaining 4 supervisors were deadlocked on what to do about the Sheriff's Department, with Thomas and Steve Walensky wanting Downham to come up with his own plan for funding the part-timers, and Claudino and Tom Tryon willing to dip into the countywide contingency fund to give Downham $62,000 to keep the part-timers through the end of September, when the state funding picture will be clear.
Right.
In the end, 4, unanimously agreed to compromise under which Downham will use salary savings from any positions that become vacant to pay the part-timers, and with the board agreeing to dip into the contingency fund 3 months from now to make up the differences if Downham's department doesn't have enough salary savings. Other layoffs that stayed in the budget include 1 employee each in the library, the Community Development Agency, and the District Attorney's Office.
Okay.
The board is scheduled to approve the budget Tuesday. This was written by Dana M. Nichols. So let me see. The total county budget is $104 million. Change from last year is down 1.7%. The general fund portions for basic county expenses, including law enforcement salaries, supplies, $41.7 million. Change from last year, down 5%. So that is the synopsis on the budget hearings.
It's kind of nice when you talk county government.
Yeah, I know. I just read it off. I actually kind of understood it too when I was reading it. So, do I sound smart when I read that stuff?
Let's see.
John had to take me to the dentist today, so that was where we were at. Unfortunately,
and we didn't know if she was going to have to be put out, if she was going to have anesthetics. Mm-hmm. You just don't always know.
Sometimes those things happen, and so. Anyways,
that was it.
We weren't able to write our synopsis on the budget hearings.
But we will have video up for you,
which they don't mind if we do.
Which they will have the video. Yes. So there we go.
Exactly, we will have the video. When is that going to be up?
We'll have it up later tonight.
Good. That should be interesting. I'd actually like to watch that.
And yeah, if you want to watch the back and forth on that, and a couple little things more on county government stuff. And if a lot of you we know a lot of you are watching developments in community development department. We've also found one of the interesting things that you'll probably be seeing more from us on, and also other media outlets in the next couple of weeks, is that the Valley Cooper contract is ended. It was supposedly supposed to end the 1st of July. Yes. They were actually, their contract with we're told their services were not needed actually a couple weeks early. So this will be kind of
Valley Cooper was hired. They were
they were a consulting firm that was hired to come in and help with the community development during transition stuff, put processes and procedures in place, streamline efficiency stuff. Okay. And so they, by all intents and by all accounts, from most people in the area, have done a very good job.
Yes, they have been very well known.
And one of the things is, as the sheer volume of work is coming down, their services were going to end the 1st of July anyway.
They ended a little early.
2 weeks early.
2 weeks early.
2 weeks early.
Okay.
And there's a couple things that a couple people will be watching. There will be a report, an exit report there. And also another couple things that will come up the first part of July. So watch for more news on that, because I know a lot of people will be watching that.
We've been kind of holding on to this for a little bit. Didn't want to really say too much. But now we figured, we better. Well, because the community needs to know about this. So, right?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's just news. It's news.
It was this. Sometimes it's hard to say things. You didn't want to say.
So they were actually, So that will be coming out as, they were. So the interesting thing, we'll watch the exit reports there and see what comes
happens.
out.
That should be happening shortly.
All right.
Okay. So you said your piece. There you go.
Well, there'll be more. There'll be more. And a couple things that we've been in, we probably haven't run as many pieces on as we should, was that there's also been an increased enforcement of some sign ordinances for small businesses. And what's come out is, I think a lot of people can, and this is just, and what we're saying right now is just stuff that we've heard out in the community. And I think this is one, in lean economic times, it's you understand, and we understand a lot of changes need to be made in departments and streamline efficiencies and newness, but also try to make sure that those changes happen in as nice a manner as possible.
Exactly.
And with some of the sign stuff from some of the we've heard and I know that the county government does not want to be perceived as being overhanded or mean.
Exactly.
And that's some of the stuff that hopefully doesn't come out on some of the things like sign enforcement and things.
So what's happening with the sign enforcement? What's happening?
There have been complaints, primarily in the Valley Springs area and the Copperopolis area, and I'm sure other areas in the county as well, and there are sign ordinances that are in place for a good reason, because you don't want really unsightly business signage. You want stuff that's appropriate and nice for in the whole county. What that also has to be balanced is, and if you may have seen this in a couple of the other outlets, is there was a fruit stand in the Valley Springs area that because they were not able to put out their signs on the weekend signs.
They had sandwich boards, right?
Yeah. They were actually, it dropped their business enough that they decided to close.
Yes, which is very sad because it was just a family that was just selling produce, trying to make it.
Yep, and luckily they had some fruit stands in down the Modesto area and stuff, so they could.
The one in Valley Springs closed.
Correct. Yeah.
They weren't able to use their sandwich boards. Because what happened? They got fined, or what happened?
Well, I mean, they were. The sandwich. They had some sign violations. And they were going to have to do some other things as well. And I guess that's the rub, because we're in a very, very tough economic times right now.
I guess sandwich board shouldn't matter, maybe.
Well, there were sign violations. So how does the county balance
how do you do that?
infractions with there? But the next few weeks will be very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So anyway, that's enough on county government for tonight.
Okay, all right. I remember when I had my store back in Ceres.
Yeah, it's not just a
sandwich boards weren't allowed, but I still brought mine out every morning.
And it helped, didn't it?
I paid for it. I tied balloons to it every day.
Yep.
Paid for that thing. I was going to put it out there, and nobody ever complained. So I hoped it helped. I don't know.
Well, anyway, how are the fires doing?
I guess a little update on the North Mountain Fire. Jerry Snyder is so kind to send us an update every morning. And this is for the fire that's going on in the Stanislaus National Forest.
Right.
Acres burned have gone up a little bit from yesterday. Yesterday we were about 1,100. Today we're at 1,228. But some good news is that it's now 25% contained compared to yesterday at 5%. That's a little better. Full containment expected. No estimate is that. The fire started on June 28th. Right now they have resources on hand are 9 hand crews, 17 engines, 2 dozers, 3 water tenders, 2 helicopters, and 374 personnel have been assigned. There actually has been 1 injury. There wasn't an injury as of yesterday. So that is the status of that now. Hopefully, there's currently no structures have been damaged. No big road closures are in effect. There are some small road closures up there in that area, like Forest Service trails and things like that. And we have more on that on the pinetree.net if you'd like to take a look at that. So that is kind of good news. It's better, a little more contained, it sounds, today. I hope the weather doesn't kick in again like it did last weekend. It's kind of that feeling, isn't it?
There is a chance of some thunderstorms again over the next couple of days. It doesn't look as heavy as it did last weekend. So
it didn't start till about Friday night last time.
Yeah.
So hopefully that lines up a little. And the community is invited to discuss fire protection strategy.
Right.
The Fire Safe Council President Jerry Tannhauser today announced that on Thursday, July 3rd, the Highway 108 Fire Safe Council is inviting homeowners in the Big Hill Road, Yankee Hill Road, Columbia, Gold Spring, Sawmill Flat, and Springfield Ranch area to meet and discuss fire protection, emergency preparedness, and fire prevention measures needed to protect life, property, and resources from wildland fires.
Right.
So on Thursday, on July 3rd, that will take place. And what else? We have a lot of stuff going on this weekend.
We do.
We have the new fishing report up.
I know. Can I touch a little bit on national news? Because
already?
Because what we're going to do is then we'll roll into our weekend update.
All right.
Right?
Sure.
So we'll but I thought there was a couple things that people may want to follow a little bit on national news. Is the Supreme Court voted to uphold the right of gun ownership, and limit the and how this stemmed out of is there was a man in Washington D.C. Washington D.C. had a very restrictive gun ban, almost completely allowing basically no handguns. You could have a shotgun in the home for self-defense. The Supreme Court said that it was that they could not outright ban handguns within Washington D.C. So there's a lot of back and forth on this issue. McCain came out in support of the decision. Obama kind of did. And also a little bit on the U.S. voted to ease the sanctions on North Korea a bit. And also the hostile takeover bid for Anheuser-Busch could get really ugly. Looks like this one could be, they received a bid from overseas for Anheuser-Busch. So there we go. That's it. I just wanted to touch a little bit on
in the national news today. Is that
about it? There was it's just the normal stuff. But I think the Supreme Court decision, I think, was a little bit interesting to people because it did clarify the Second Amendment, because one of the things that the court decision actually really does clarify in modern times the right to bear arms.
Okay. All right. Let me see. I want to touch on one thing. We had a little fire here yesterday in Murphy's, right on Highway 4. It ended up being half an acre. I didn't realize that. And the cause is under investigation. We received a fire report today.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah, they all are. It's not like it was a major fire or anything, but I just wanted to mention that the little half-acre fire we had on here right near Chatham Vineyards yesterday is under investigation. No injuries, no damage dollar estimated, so that's good news. And West Calaveras, you have a new cell tower.
That's right. Golden State Cellular announced that in Jenny Lind. They have a brand new cell tower up, and this will provide coverage for the the community of Jenny Lind, probably some Rancho Calaveras spillover, and the rest of but it also should help coverage on western Calaveras County.
All right, that's great news.
And one of the things that's kind of neat, and we touched on this a little bit in our brief little article, is Golden State Cellular is a local company, invests locally, but also if you look at economic development and trends, good ubiquitous cell coverage and also data connections and things, if you look at numerous studies, they have a significant impact on the economy as a whole,
they do.
Because it allows people to do more, and I think as our rural area competes with most other metropolitan areas, to have those, it's a good thing.
Yes.
All right, so congratulations, Jenny Lind.
Congratulations.
Your coverage just got better.
That's great. Any more local news before we go on to the events? We have about 8 minutes left.
I guess we better go. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we're not going to get to, but I guess we better...
There's the Bret Hart Boosters golf tournament tomorrow.
1
p.m. at Greenhorn Creek. If you're still interested in signing up, I'm sure they have availability for golfers. That starts at 1 p.m. tomorrow. We also have the Fresh Fridays Farmers Market in Angels Camp tomorrow evening. Which is every Friday night from 5 p.m. to dusk. It's actually quite nice. Lots of fresh veggies and produce and flowers and jewelry and art and all kinds of stuff. And then
also tomorrow night,
that's right,
Ironstone kicks off the second of their summer concert series. It is Bob Weir, Government Mule,
and
Rat Dog.
Right?
So, there we go. So, Bob Weir, Rat Dog, Government Mule.
Good.
So, if you're looking at stuff that is not only from these great stuff, not only these individual bands, but the legacy of these bands is the Grateful Dead and also the Allman Brothers.
Yes, which I remember listening to. I don't know if I listened much to the Grateful Dead, but I remember listening to Great Allman Brothers. Yes. So that's tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. There are still good seats available for that. That is a great time.
Yep.
It's a great time. It really is. Highly recommend it. Also tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. is Twisted After Dark at the Twisted Oak Winery, which they hold once a month on, I think it's the last Friday of the month they hold. You go out there and they have some fun things going on, wine tasting, food, some surprising things happening in the caves. They're all you never know.
Fun in the caves.
You never know what you're going to get out there when you go out to Twist, because they're a little twisted out there, aren't they?
You may
tomorrow evening at 5:30
get accosted by a rubber chicken or two.
Yes. Something really exciting that starts tomorrow evening is the Satori Jazz Company is presenting Romeo and Juliet, which is going to be, I think, quite lovely. We saw some of the girls last night after rehearsal.
Art thou,
yes.
Romeo?
And they were absolutely darling, weren't they? So that is happening tomorrow night. I believe it goes on all weekend. Yes, it does. It goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evening at 6 p.m.
At the Bret Hart.
Yes, the Bret Hart Theater in Angels Camp. And
there we
then
go.
we move on to Saturday.
So that was it? Well, also was the opening. Isn't tomorrow night the opening for Murphy's Creek Theater?
Oh my gosh, I don't think I have it on the calendar. You're right, it is. I just have it in an article.
We did the article, but tomorrow night is the opening.
Oh, tonight's the
preview.
Sneak preview.
Tonight's the sneak preview.
We should head over there after this.
So tonight's a sneak preview.
Merry Wives of Windsor.
Merry Wives of Windsor.
Yes, great time.
And it's set, isn't it set in a modern times?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is. So
the Merry Wives of Windsor.
At the Steveno Winery.
The Cornelia B. There we go. The Cornelia B. Steveno wine. So that starts up this weekend, and they put on a great show out there, and it's also a wonderful venue. If you haven't been out there to take a picnic lunch, have some other. It's in a beautiful lawn setting.
Picnic dinner.
Well, or a late lunch.
Yes, the late
right?
lunch.
Since we're kind of night owls,
it's very
maybe
cool.
Yeah,
we're night owls.
Yeah,
we're all day owls.
Yeah. So
that starts. Actually, a sneak preview starts tonight at 8 p.m. You still have time to run over.
So
yes. And tomorrow morning.
Are we going to go?
Saturday. Maybe we should.
Maybe we should
run over after this.
Okay.
What do you think? Saturday morning, 8 a.m. is a church garage sale being held at the church. I believe it's the Church of Nazarene in Angels Camp.
All right.
That's at 8 a.m. We also have Gymkhana Day out at. I don't want to read more on yours. I don't want to.
Oh, go ahead.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We also have Gymkhana Day, which is taking place on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. also. And that is at the Calaveras County Fairgrounds.
All right.
And that is where the Calaveras Saddle Club hosts a Gymkhana Day.
Go ahead.
Well, I can't because you were scrolling down. I was reading it.
Oh, you were reading it. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so you had the Gymkhana Day, and then also is the another car show. This weekend. This one's presented by the Angels Murphy's Lions Club. This will be at the Bret Harte High School. Will benefit the Bret Harte High School Sports Complex. All 72 models and older.
So we would be okay if we entered
We're pre-72.
Yes.
I think we need.
From 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Do we need some additional? Well, I mean, they probably have classes for like unrestored, restored, complete ground-up restoration. I'm feeling like I could probably use a ground-up restoration.
Art in the Garden. This is something that's very cool. It's happening in West Point.
The West Point Art in the Garden?
Yes. This year's Art in the Garden will be held at the Vago Residence at 304 Winton Road in West Point on Saturday, June 28th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is free. This biennial event alternates the Art in the Gardens presented by AIG in partnership with the Blue Mountain Coalition for Youth and Families. 16 artists will be showing and selling their art in a lovely garden setting. Featured will be watercolors, oils, jewelry, sculpture, photography, quilts, knitted items, stained glass, gourds, basket, pressed flowers, and metal sculpture. There will be live music throughout the day and delicious homegrown organic food served by Amy's Mountain Ranch Kitchen. They are pleased to welcome back Judy Dean, Master Gardener, and Steve Walensky from Humbug Creek Farm, as well as Randy Metzger, an expert on heirloom tomatoes.
And also known as your supervisor,
yes.
Steve Walensky, supervisor, District 4.
He will speak on the nature and nurturing of an orchard and maybe give you some inside scoop about making apple cider.
And Randy Metzger is also the...
Yes, I knew that.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, go, if you want to
they have other lives as well.
Yes, they
do. Okay. They are having the Amateur Radio Day, June 28 and 29 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Bear Valley Ski Area parking lot. Probably the largest big spot they could find. Get up there. And they will be demonstrations. They'll probably be talking to people from all over the world. Yes. And there we go. So that way, go to the Bear Valley Ski Area parking lot for the
Saturday and Sunday.
The place to be.
Yes.
They're also having the Master Gardeners Open Garden Day.
Well, I forgot to mention that at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
They do that once a month where they actually give garden demonstrations, gardening tips. So go out if you have any gardening. They're really, really nice out there. And
they have the Mediterranean Mystique Angel Auction.
That's already here. Can you believe it?
Already here at Camp's Restaurant, Saturday, June 28th. And this is quite the hoity-toity affair.
Yes, it is.
It is. I don't know if would they even let us in?
I don't think so.
I doubt it. They wouldn't even let us in.
Wine and white sangria reception will begin the evening's program at 5:30 p.m. with ample time to preview the many live and silent auction items.
They have all kinds of stuff.
Dinner will be served at 7.
And also the Satori Jazz Company returns for Saturday night, and also The Cedar Center Summer Music Series kicks off tomorrow night, and they have and for June 28th or Saturday night, which June 28th it will be Blue Shoes, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. with old time swing and blues. So that's going on as well. And man, Harmony House has a Friday Night Alive. Is that on Saturday night?
That's on
Friday night.
Friday Night Alive, which is this is a neat thing that they're doing. They're actually reaching out to the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's all community volunteer. That's on Friday evening at what time?
7, I believe.
Sorry, and that's at the Harmony House in Murphy's.
Yeah.
If you're interested in attending that. Now we're on to Sunday. We have another Adventure Sunday,
and I think we have less than a minute.
Another Adventure Sunday mountain bike shuttle at Bear Valley Adventure Company. Bear Valley Adventure Company will drop you off.
That's it. Amateur Field Radio Day. More things continuing on Sunday.
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity groundbreaking in Valley Springs. And good night.
Good night.
See you later.